Alright, so let's get some real materials on this. So what I'm going to do is, this is my hypershade up here. I'm going to right click, create under materials. Oops. And the materials, like I said, are uh, essentially shaders that we can put on there. Some of them work with certain renderers, which is the way it actually calculates the final image, and some of them work with other renderers. For right now, we're going to stick to some of the basic ones and not get too deep. And we're going to go in and create, let's do a Fong. So here's my Fong right here. Right, and there's the materials for it on the attribute editor. Sometimes it'll have an extra one here. Kind of ignore that one for right now because of this particular material. So we're inside of here. I have my Fong selected. And what I want to do is tell it where do I want that Fong to be and what do I want it to be. So just so you can kind of see how this works. Let me kind of blow that up a little bit. Different materials. Lambert, if I click on that and we see its properties, you can adjust the color, its transparency, ambient color, which is basically, an ambient color is essentially how it works with ignoring light. At black, which is its default, means that this material is only going to be seen if light is hitting it. And the brighter the ambient light is, the less it needs light. It'll show whatever color or texture you have regardless of what lighting is hitting it. It'll always be that color or texture. Incandescence is essentially light that kind of emulates light coming from within. So if you wanted something to appear like it's a light bulb or something, I would go with incandescence. Diffuse is how does light go across the surface to show it. Zero means the light is essentially being entirely absorbed, and then the more diffuse it is, the more light spreads across it, seeing more of the material. And translucence is sometimes confused with transparency, but it isn't. Transparency, glass is transparent. I can see right through it, exactly what's behind it. Translucence is actually light going through a surface. So a good example of translucence would be paper, where if I shine a light and my hand is behind a paper and the light is behind my hand and I'm looking at the paper, I can see the silhouette of my hand because it's blocking light passing through the paper because the paper is translucent. And then this can say like, oh, light is going through. Well, we could talk more about that later, but really translucence is how you get like light to go through paper, wings, plastics, even skin is somewhat translucent to make it look more realistic. That's how you see, like if you see a character, 3D character, and you see light behind them, and you see that red coming through their ears when the sun is behind them, that's because we're translucent. And then if you're using software render, there's a glow effect, so you can actually add a glow to the surface so that it actually emits a fuzzy glow around it. It doesn't illuminate the things around it, but it makes it look like it's actually glowing, like with an aura like this. Okay, so Fong, the difference between a Lambert, a Fong, and a Blinn, a lot of these materials is a Lambert has no shine to it. So when you see the Lambert, it would be a matte, like a flat paint with no shine, a carpet with no shine, a non-wet material, a dry material, something that has no shininess to it. Most other things would fall into a Blinn or a Fong. And that's just depending on, or an anisotropic, which is another material, if I just create that so you could see it. So that's an anisotropic. So you notice the Fong has a nice shiny specular highlight, and then the anisotropic has this bent light. You would see this sort of effect of light on materials that have microscopic variations in the surface, certain metals, um, the inside, the back of a CD or DVD or Blu-ray, satin, where all those little microscopic fibers and changes doesn't make the shine like a hot spot like these. It actually makes it bend across the material. And you don't have to worry about that much. I just want you to understand what these things are. Essentially, do I want it to be flat with no shine, or do I want to have a shine and then I can control how much of a shine, how widespread or tightened that it is, and what color, or I can even give it a separate color if I want, where where the light hits it, it's going to have this specular color. Just hit Z to go back. Okay. And then also Phong and blends and even anisotropic can have reflectivity. So we can put either they will reflect if we do a software render with ray tracing, or we can put a fake reflection in to make it look chromy or have a fake reflection in the background, which we'll talk about. So just a quick little overview of what materials are. You put these on a surface, and what they do is they allow you to tell it, that surface, what color it is, how bumpy it is, how shiny it is, does it glow, is it reflective, all those good things. So if I say, okay, I've made my Phong, and let's say I wanted that Phong to be the red that we're using, right? So I've selected it. I'm going to change the name of that Phong, red material. And then I go to the color, oops, click on the little box here, and literally tell it I want it to be red, and I have to decide how red. Okay, so let's say we start with that. I have to apply that material to where I want it to be red. Now, if this wasn't all one group, it would make it easier, but since it's all grouped together, and it's very difficult for me to go in and so just drop it in. If I try just dragging it on, which is a way, it's going to apply to the whole thing. So here's how I'm going to assign it. I'm going to go in and I'm going to right click and hold my mouse on the object and go to face mode. And you notice when I put my cursor, it highlights. So if I select this surface, you see it's lighter, and it also has the manipulation tool. I'm going to hold down Shift, left mouse click, Shift, left mouse click. So I've got just the fronts of these selected, okay? But I've gotten all three pieces of the red part of the logo minus the text. We'll get that in a second. And I hit Shift, period, and I hit period a few times. And what that does is that grows a selection. So now I've got the whole shape, the sides, the back, everything, because I hit Shift period, it grows the selection outward. So I have the whole thing selected, all their faces, of just that red box. And let me just show you again, just so you can see it. Right click, go to face mode, select, just by left mouse clicking. Now hold down Shift, click, Shift, click, and then Shift period. Just hit period a few times to grow the entire selection. Now I go tap my spacebar. There's my red material. I'm going to right click, not left, but right click on my material and say assign material to selection. And now what we'll see is that material should now be attached to to that face. I can right click, go back into object mode. How do I know it's selected? Because if I go to that red material, oops, did it go through? Okay, so I've applied it, but you might notice that we're not seeing anything happen. As I actually go and change it, nothing's going on. And that is because by default, how it brought over these colors, it didn't make a separate material for them. It used what's called vertex color. So I'm going to turn that off under SVG, click, and now we can actually see it. And there, if I go now, we could see, oh, wait a minute, there it is right there. But now we have to create different ones for all of these, right? So you know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to make a few more of these blends. So I could take this guy, edit, duplicate shading network, and my second one, I'm just going to call this one gray material, and we'll change that to gray, and I'll duplicate it again. Change that one to a black. And we'll duplicate that again. Change this one to a white. And I think those four should do it. So if we kind of go, so I could see them, white, red, gray, and black. And that is basically what I was using for these. Minus, of course, the gray should be there. So something, boop, there we go. So gray, black, red. Okay. So the white one, this is how we're going to do it. I right click, go to face mode. I know there's a lot hanging out there, so it's a little bit weird. Select that middle beam. Remember, shift period. Right click, assign. Select that outward one. Shift period, assign the black. Now a nice little trick is grabbing things from a side view so you can get like part of that without everything else. Shift period. And let's see, which one was that? That one was red, and the top different was black. Okay. So this red. Shift period to grow the selection. This one is black. Oops, and we missed that one at the end. Just make sure. Oops, and we forgot the eye here. Actually, I might. There we go. And now black. Shift period, shift period, shift period. Gray. There we have it. Now when it's illuminated, the colors are right, but when it's illuminated, we'll see it popping up a lot better, but for right now, um, we can see that's basically giving us our logo. And the lighting, see, I can change some of the properties of the lighting. We'll work on that in a little bit, but I've got those materials on there. So once again, to apply my own, if I didn't like the ones that were on there or they're just not working right, I go to SVG and I want to put my own. I unchecked output vertex colors. I uncheck that. And then I was able to create new materials in the hypershade and then assign them in here. By right click, selecting, going to face mode, selecting a surface, a face of a surface, hitting shift period to grow the selection, and then right clicking on the material I want to put it on and saying assign material to selection to do that. And that's giving us what we are seeing right now, which is this. Still needs tweaking, but we've got all the players in there. It's just not enough light in there for one. This is our main light, and we can actually go in and we could even tell it to change the color of the shadow. That's much better. So I changed my shadow color in that directional light. So it's not this ridiculously hard black light. I gave it like this softer blue color, which would make more sense because shadows in real life are actually not um, black. They are just surfaces that are not being illuminated. So giving it a slight color as opposed to, I mean, a gray works, but you just see the blue kind of pops it out, makes it seem like there's more light in the area. And even if it were like on a bright sunny day, it would have more of a, you know, sort of a little bit of a yellowish tint to it, but I like that blue. That just pops that out nicely. Alt B, we can hide under show the grid just so we could take a look at that. That actually is not looking too bad. The last thing I'm going to do for just this portion, wait to the next video, or before we go to the next, is go under some of the settings. You'll notice that there's a little bit of jaggedy, it's called um, the little jagged steps. It requires what's called anti-aliasing, which is a way of softening those edges. So I'm going to go to Renderer, Viewport 2.0, and the little box next to it for the options. And I'm just going to tweak a few things. Number one, transparency algorithm if you're using it, but it just seems to work better with depth peeling. Switch that. I'm going to go down a little bit to where I have motion blur turned on. Anti-aliasing, smooth wireframe, multi-sample. I'm going to turn both these on. And do you see that? It cleans that up. That looks much nicer. That's much cleaner now. How nice. If you got a nice, decent, powerful video card, you can boost this to 16 to make it even smoother. And now if we take a look at this, let's can close that out, rewind, and let's just see what that looks like so far. Nice. Kind of digging that. All right.